Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Leinonen and I typically teach a couple classes at HomeLink. This year I have been given the opportunity to be a parent liaison with a couple other wonderful ladies at HomeLink. I have one of them here today with me, Cheryl Walter. We have two other guests with us here. They are teachers at HomeLink. We have Carolyn Sturgis and Tamara Eichley, and they will be talking with us today about what to do in the wintertime when we all kind of begin to struggle with schooling and teaching and just everyday life. So I have them here to go over some tips that have worked for their families. Both of them have homeschooled children in the past, and then they both obviously teach now. So Tamara, would you like to start and give us any tips that you might have?
Sure. And in our new Zoom world, I have to apologize because my kid just started playing the saxophone upstairs. So I think one of the biggest things when, for both students and for adults, teaching and trying to be a parent too is, getting out this time of year. It's cold. We don't necessarily want to leave home, but we've been literally stuck inside our homes for some time in some capacity. So getting out and getting fresh air, even if it's kind of that brisk walk, getting kids to go run around the house between subjects or something, just to kind of break the monotony of being inside and kind of refreshing those neurons has always worked really well for our family. One thing that really worked really well for us and me as the instructor at home when I was homeschooling my kids was maintaining a consistent schedule, keeping the same bedtimes, the same wake schedule, so that when we came back in January and we're still in those kind of blah months for a lot of people, that we didn't end up suffering with, oh man, I've been going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and now I have to get back up at 6. And so keeping a consistency there really, really helped us, no matter what school, whether it was HomeLink or a boundary school that we were at. And then also, maintaining consistency in our schoolwork really helped, even if we had to kind of pare out some of the lesser important things to catch up on later. But from a consulting standpoint and a teaching standpoint, I see what happens when things get kind of put off of, okay, we're just going to take too many breaks or things get on the back burner. And then in January, February, families have to play catch up, and that's no fun. And especially in those really burdensome months. So, definitely paring down, but being very specific about what to pare down and giving yourself lots of grace and, enjoy the holiday season or the winter months and that early springtime, just really giving ourselves that grace to explore it, because that's why we're doing this, to individualize it with our students. So those are my tips.
And I'm Carolyn Sturgis. I completely agree with you as far as consistency of schedule and exercising outside. I would say that those are two pillars at my house. We definitely had a routine. I came to HomeLink first as a homeschooler. Our family came, and it was a lovely oasis and a excellent experience for my kids. And then my kids have grown up, and I'm still there. And so I'm the only homeschooler at my house now, except for the dog. I should also say that homeschooling wasn't my plan A. We came into homeschooling in the middle of a pretty tough middle school year, pulled my daughter out in those dark, like these months right here, where the shortest day and all the darkness is. And that was really hard times, but we did work into a spot where I really am so grateful that we homeschooled. I would definitely do it over again. And, by the time we got to kid number 4, we homeschooled the whole way, but, we came into it sort of through the back door. So consistency of schedule, exercise are huge things in my house. I'll always have a memory of my daughter out reading in the tree with her legs swinging back and forth, thinking, she could never do that at school. But having said that, one of the beautiful things about getting into a consistent schedule is breaking it. And if you come up with a day where it's rainy out and you feel like curling up on the couch with a good book and a cup of hot chocolate, do it. That's the perk. And that's, that's the joy of it, is, you know, taking the day to go out and sled all day or read a book. Another thing that worked really well for us is we always included something joyful in the things the kids were learning. Joyful for the kids and joyful for me. And so I remember, just as an example, we had a lot of things like that. But one time my son, he was tired of language arts and he was tired of math. And so I'm like, okay, I'm choosing those two for you. What do you want to choose to learn about? And he said, I want to learn about PVC pipe. So excellent. And I tell you what, that joyful thing that he learned turned into creating a whole garden system. And he's put in so many irrigation systems for people now. And that came from like a 5th grade joy of learning project. So don't forget, a lot of the learning that you do doesn't have to be, you know, the old traditional things. Get creative. You can learn Russian or visit another country, or, well, I guess someday we can visit another country again, right? Spark joy in your learning, whatever it takes to do that. And not just joy for the kids, but also joy for you. Because if you're having fun, then your kids are probably having fun too. And if you're stressed out, probably your kids are stressed out. So first, take care of you. And in fact, as a teacher, that's one thing I've learned. The number one thing that sets a good school apart from a normal school, I believe is the same thing that sets a good homeschool apart, is when the kids know how much you care about them. But you need to say it, and they need to know it. I remember John Hattie said that knowledge sets a good educational experience apart from a mediocre one. As a teacher, the dynamic between teachers and parents at HomeLink is different, and please don't be afraid to reach out to your student's teacher. We really, really like talking to our parents. Sometimes as a teacher, I wish I talked to more parents, especially now that we're off site than I do, but I love it when you pop an email or, you know, we can set up Zoom calls and things like that with parents too, if there's questions.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Cheryl, you're up.
Yeah. So yeah, we come into January from December with having 3 birthdays and Christmas, and usually there's some kind of recital or award ceremony. So coming into January is very slow, and it's a big change from what we had been doing. But I certainly got that panic, and I did see it when I was in the public schools, that the teachers would get that panic too, that, oh my gosh, are we going to get all this done? So I just want you to know you're not alone as a parent, that not only you and other parents have issues with thinking the same thing, but so do teachers in the regular classrooms. One of the things that I realized was, especially when I started a new curriculum, and we have a lot of new people, so everybody's new to this, is that when you make that plan in September, you don't know what the curriculum's like, and you may need to modify, because you're now getting to a point where you're getting to the hardest material that you have to cover. Everything is new. There's nothing that your kids can really rely on that they already knew. And it's really hard. So maybe you need to slow down. So maybe you need to go into a little more depth with the times table, or doing more practice with the long division than what they call for. And that's okay. Talk to your consultant, say, hey, we got to take longer. And your consultant will be okay, as long as you talk to them about it. If you don't talk to them, then they'll be say, why are you behind? But you got to talk to them about it. And just like I said too, you can also say to your consultant, I don't think that I set up something that was appropriate. We were going to do 2 chapters a week, and now I'm seeing that they're more in depth at this time, and we need to take 1 chapter. And that is fine too. Another thing is that this is a time when your kid may be struggling, and you may find out that your kid needs more support, that they need to go see Mrs. Shalata. They need to come in and do the tutoring, assuming that's still available at the time that we're doing this, or to have a little extra time with the teachers. Reach out and get some of that support, because that's really very helpful. And it's not going to count against you when you go to see your consultants. It's not a race to get there. It's a everybody wants you to master the stuff so that you can go on and be successful down the road. The main thing the last thing that I wanted to talk about was to talk to other homeschooling parents. And while other parents go through it, this time of year is a time like Mrs. Sturgis went through with the middle of the winter changing. This is a time when people do change. If they're homeschooling, they go back to school. If they're in school, they start homeschooling. But reach out. Our PTO has their coffees on every Friday right now that are going on. Those are a great chance to reach out and just say, talk to some other people about what's going on and any struggles you're having, and just to feel heard and validated. And that is just so wonderful. I used to do a lot of park play days with my kids, and it wasn't so my kids could socialize. It was so that I could talk to other adults and talk about what was going on and have someone who said, yes, I know. That was just so important. And then, like the other said, get outside and schedule some time for yourself are really important things. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. So right now I have 2 elementary kiddos. This is the first year we've homeschooled 2, so we just had a little kinder boy start, and we've got a 3rd grade girl. And the first year we homeschooled, we really struggled when we hit winter. We didn't have a ton of connections yet at the school as far as other families that we knew or hung out with. Building those relationships were difficult. And obviously, like this year, that's the case too, because we're remote. We're not seeing people on site. Kids aren't making friends. So if you're new to the program, I totally understand how that can be a struggle. That's where we were even with on-site 2-3 years ago. And once we make connections, that definitely helps. So I do encourage you, like Cheryl said, to check in with the PTO coffee chat, because just hearing people say, hey, I'm struggling, like I might have lost it today, like that's normal. Like we all go through that. And so hearing that definitely helps. And I hope hearing it on here helps too, because we all go through those moments. We definitely pare back in the wintertime. So we have our expected stuff that we do every day. So math and reading almost every day. And then I really try to increase the number of messy craft activities, and they're not necessarily led by me. So I get the stuff out, I say, hey, look at this example, and then they go to town on it. And yeah, it creates a mess, but they're having fun by themselves, and they're getting better at cleaning up now that they're getting older. But that has helped relieve some of the tension in the house, and it has allowed them to express themselves and be more responsible in a fun activity. And then I can get dishes done and do laundry and those other things that seem a little more difficult this time of year for some reason. And we also have Sundays. So I've said this in another video, if it is sunny outside and not like 50-mile-an-hour winds, we're gonna go outside, we're gonna go for a walk, we're gonna play soccer, we're gonna play badminton, whatever it is, ride bikes, just to get some exercise. And we rarely have snow days because usually we're done with school by lunchtime-ish, and then we go out and play in the snow anyway. But those Sundays are so important. And so I urge you to get outside and play, change your schedule a little bit, and get those main topics done, and then do some fun stuff. Find those things that spark joy, like Carolyn was saying. They're so important. I don't think that I would be as emotionally stable this year without a great group of women, other moms from HomeLink that we've kind of connected over the last couple years, and just bouncing off our struggles and finding out what they're doing and how do you manage your day, and this topic isn't working, and just hearing different people's opinions has definitely been helpful. Yeah, the way to do that this year right now is definitely that PTO coffee chat, and those women are awesome, and they are some experienced homeschoolers that can definitely help you out. So if you are still having struggles, please reach out, talk to your consultant. If pacing's an issue, we just changed pacing on our reading stuff to make it a little more manageable. Reach out to any of the teachers, the parent liaisons, but please don't continue to struggle. There are things that can help you guys out. And the staff at HomeLink's awesome, and everyone does want to have everyone succeed. So please do reach out if you need it.